Welcome back to the Antidote podcast, rejuvenated on video, really leveled up.
We're back, baby.
Yeah, leveled up, unlike Bitcoin hardware wallets, which is what we're going to discuss today. So there'll be three things really on the agenda. More discussion around the Coldcard exploit and why that's been such a mess for so many people. And then opening up a broader discussion around actually the shortcomings of hardware wallets, the importance of entropy and random numbers. And then finally, a call to action, a bounty. We are looking to build the solution in true Antidote style. So £100,000 up for grabs to start a new project.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, keep listening. We're back. Little hiatus on the podcast, but now we're like really back.
The boys are back in town.
Yeah, with like video and this guy.
Yeah.
Dorian, yeah. So this is all due to a couple of hires we made at Antidote. So I think last podcast we were like, we're hiring, and then we just went quiet. Several reasons for that. But we've now got a new chap here called Charles.
We've hired.
Yes, we've hired a Charlie. Say hello, Charlie.
Hello, podcast.
Oh, good. Charlie's invisible. He's actually a ghost. But Charles has joined us as community lead. For those of you who are dropping in on Antidote every now and then, you will get to know Charles or Charlie and meet him. He's also an audio visual wizard and has significantly upgraded us in a very short period of time. So we're thrilled to be back and thrilled to have Charlie.
You'll recognize him because he's a strapping young man with a phenomenal mustache.
Thank you.
And for those of you who knew Andy before, I think Charlie stole your mustache.
Yeah. He made me feel inadequate, so I had to shave mine. His was so much better.
Yeah, I think there's a legend there that he walked in and ripped it off and then glued it to his own face. And we've also had another person join us, and that is Leia. Leia runs our our events and office operations. She is a real Bitcoiner, which is quite exciting. And I'm sure folks who are dropping in will also get to know Leia soon as well, especially if you are coming to any of our upcoming events. But we're actually here to talk about news that has shaken the very foundations of our being.
Stressful few days.
Randomness.
Lack thereof.
Yeah, or the complete lack thereof. So it has actually gone into the mainstream news now. There was the Fox Business piece that went around, but I actually saw a couple of other articles being linked to. For people who may not be aware, a hardware wallet manufacturer. Now, this is, if you are into Bitcoin, you probably hear about people saying, take your keys offline or put it into cold storage or some other phrase. I always would kind of say it a bit deliberately reductively, but I would say like put your money on a USB stick just to help people understand. Now, everyone in Bitcoin who has the knowledge knows that's not quite what's happening. But Coldcard and CoinKite, the company that was making these devices, made a huge song and dance, I think, in the industry of being like the pinnacle or the creme de la creme of what a Bitcoin hardware wallet should be. Kind of like if you want to live in a cave in the woods and know that your money's safe from not just a wrench attack, but also the NSA and possibly 4 other Five Eyes organizations, then you get a Coldcard. This was kind of the security theater. But it turns out, what does it turn out?
Well, they're not secure at all.
Yeah, it turns out they're about as secure as a packet of quavers.
Yeah.
The random number generator, which underpins everything in Bitcoin. Like if you buy a hardware wallet, you're buying an offline specialized random number generator at the bare minimum. And that's because every Bitcoin wallet is an absurdly large random number. That's all it is. so people can't guess each other's absurdly large random numbers. And to make these absurdly large random numbers even vaguely digestible to our monkey brains, we put them in 12 words or 24 words, right? But Coldcard's random numbers weren't random.
Weren't random at all.
They weren't random. They were easily guessed. And this was the case for 5 years. So it was a very large contingent of the Bitcoin podcasting and Bitcoin media ecosystem that was promoting Coldcards. It turns out they were promoting a bag of goods because those devices were broken from the day you received them and had been for almost half a decade. So it was a ticking time bomb until this happened, even though the company itself blamed AI. There are a couple of examples out there in the past few years of people reaching out to the business and saying like, hey, weird behavior here, all related to wallet entropy, something we'll get into. And the company just dismissed it, right?
Yeah. I think they had a bit of a reputation for kind of being bullies and a bit dismissive and aggressive.
Hubris.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that marketing worked until it didn't.
Yeah. And now the company's dead, or will be.
Yeah.
So the interesting thing we had, so, like, let's be a few cards on the table. I was a Coldcard user.
As was I.
I was lucky enough not to put all eggs in one basket and consider, options and multi-vendor, etc. But I had recommended Coldcard to people, and I had to spend a weekend and a bit more than a weekend on the phone to several people, listen to them completely panic, and then like walk them through how to save their money, basically, from being pinched out of their hands.
For sure.
Yeah.
By the way, if you're listening to this and you haven't heard of the Coldcard hack and you're using a Coldcard, it's probably a good time to press pause and go move your funds immediately.
Yeah.
There you go.
I love Charlie.
Yeah, Charlie's the man.
This is amazing. We're doing things professionally. So that's true. If you have a Coldcard, honestly, you should just stop what you're doing right now and go and move your money if it hasn't already been taken. Unfortunately, and that is how the bug manifested, is that you were doing everything right. This is what's so disgraceful about it. You're doing everything right. You're keeping your funds, it's the equivalent of keeping gold bars in a safe, in a safe space in your house, or with, in a bank or whatever, with safety deposit box. You're doing everything right, and then they get like the Hatton Garden heist. Someone comes in through the back door and swipes them under your nose, and you wouldn't even necessarily be aware. So it's a dreadful, dreadful display of incompetence and oversight by the company making the Coldcard. But we also, I had to listen to stories about, like, a friend had to get his mum to go to a safe space where they'd secured the funds and force it to open on the weekend, hands shaking, terrified, losing money for their relatives. I had to, too many phone calls like that. But there was something that really struck me, which was what a display of how ill prepared the Bitcoin industry is for such issues when they arise. Not only was the actual by making the product so deliberately secure in this elaborate security theater that was really for advanced users, you're selling something that requires deep understanding of the protocol to normal people as if they should just count on it and trust it. Right? And I think that's where things really broke down for me.
Yeah, I think that's what kind of makes this attack unique to some of the previous Bitcoin attacks. We've seen that the victims weren't necessarily people that just kind of dipped their toe and didn't really do the learning. This is like hardcore Bitcoiners that have spent like hours and hours and, probably thousands of hours reading, understanding the protocol. This was kind of like or at least it was advertised as the kind of solution of choice if you want to be as secure as possible and you're not worried about getting your hands dirty and really understanding. So it kind of hits close to home.
Yeah, it's if you're into the Bitcoin media and learning, like
exactly.
UTXO management, what signing really is, how spending policies work in Bitcoin. It's a phenomenal. To give them some credit, they surfaced a lot of things to the user. If you were willing to learn, you could really start to grok a lot about how Bitcoin truly functions. Like like looking inside a clock or something, right? It was like we're really seeing and exposing a lot. But it's also, to my mind, some of it I realized was actually not the Coldcard itself, but where the software was stepping in to solve the problem. So, many folks out there in the Bitcoin space use Sparrow as the kind of desktop money management software of choice. Let's call it that. Desktop wallet, you could say, but it manages, you can connect devices to it and use it to essentially coordinate managing your money. It's a very nice piece of software, but it's definitely for advanced users. Yeah. It shows you all Bitcoin warts and all, like UTXO, spend paths, transaction IDs, all the script types. You see everything and you learn a lot, and it's good for reassuring yourself. It's good for learning if you want to work in the Bitcoin space, but it ain't where regular folk are at. Yeah. And we're doing something for fun at the office. We've got visual props because we're on video. Let's understand entropy. So Leia's very kindly pulled these together for folks coming into the office. But this is essentially you can come. It's like a little interactive thing. You can pull this out. This is why Leia's brilliant. But you essentially can roll dice and pull random letters out of a like a tombola, and you write them down, and you do it many times until you've generated enough entropy being randomness, broadly speaking, to generate your own Bitcoin seed phrase. And the point is to learn that you can, there's a few things you learn this way. You learn that you can always create a Bitcoin wallet wherever you are without the need for a computer, apart from for the final word, which needs a checksum.
So long as you have dice or something
So long as you have some suitable source of randomness, like dice or, you could flip a coin. And you can build a more random wallet than the Coldcard was generating, but also you really do understand where the Bitcoin seed phrases come from. Like that is the password to your money. However, this is for people who are into Bitcoin and want to hang out in Antidote and learn. But I think the thing that really struck us was BitKey's right. Don't you think?
Yeah. As in no seed?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think managing a seed in general is probably not the solution for most people. Of course, there's always going to be the hardcore people that, they get the comfort from managing the seed and they have a bunch of redundant processes. But the kind of threat is that if the seed is the money, right? If somebody gets a hold of your seed, they can take all your money. Mm-hmm. So you have to go through great lengths to secure it, make sure no one's going to stumble upon it, make sure you're not going to forget where it is, make sure it won't, in case of a catastrophe, flood, a fire, whatever, a break-in, that it's not going to be compromised. There's a lot of kind of failure modes when you're dealing with a seed. And I think one of the things that we like about BitKey is that they've abstracted that away from the user in kind of like a multi-sig native secure way, which we quite like. Yeah.
So we went a little bit of a micro odyssey, timely, because there's a new film called The Odyssey. So we went on a micro odyssey around hardware wallets. I mean, frankly, I think there's like a few things go on. You learn this, you get into Bitcoin, you learn this once, or someone tells you like, hey, you need this seed phrase, and you kind of sort it out, put it away. And then that's kind of by design what it's supposed to do. You never look at it again, except in an emergency. So you kind of forget about it. And then you can just send money there and it's long-term savings. This is why the Coldcard hack was so disgraceful. But maybe we're like Bitcoin boomers. I mean, I used to think that like, people use password managers. So you use like one password and you understand, okay, I've got to keep one password safe. And then that gives me all my other passwords. But it's quite easy to remember a like memorable password that you broadly just don't ever share anywhere. And also it's not as consequential as it's all your money. So I thought back then that maybe people will just learn that, like, okay, there's another one password that you've got to keep really safe. And maybe people will learn to do that and everyone will be, but now I see that's absolute nonsense. Like it won't, I can see it very, very clearly. And especially having now in the past, few weeks, very viscerally helped a lot of people I assumed or incorrectly knew what they were doing, struggle, like having to remember concepts they had learned and then subsequently not had to worry about. But also I have friends who are just as technical and they were just uncomfortable, right? Because it like shit had got real. And I think as a result that the BitKey team are correct conceptually and philosophically that you should strive to get rid of seed phrases, one, and two, that the default should actually be multi-sig. I think these are very, very clear to me now that is actually correct for a mainstream audience.
Definitely. Because with those two pieces, you eliminate the single point of failure threat entirely.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a seed that if someone finds, you're cooked. If you lose something, you're fine because it's multi-sig, so you can recover parts of your keys. It's still your keys, so they're still your coins.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot to like there, for sure.
Yeah. And the other mini odyssey we went on, apart from starting to philosophically question some of these long-standing things.
A hodl-see?
I like it. So, yes, a hodl-see. Are you hodlicious? I don't know.
Hodl-see.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to stop there. Isn't there someone called Electra who's like we have Electrum, the server? Okay, stop. We're nerds. So the other mini odyssey we went on was we bought Antidote pretty much every major hardware wallet that is now out. The more contemporary ones, like as in the newest versions. Let's look at the latest and greatest. Let's benchmark. Where is the hardware industry at? Where is cold storage for Bitcoin at as of 2026? And I think it's fair to say that both you and I were like, it's not very good.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, this came from a cold, calculated, let's run an experiment place, not smash buying everything in a panic.
Yes, it's true. Yeah, no, we started an experiment because we started to see like very viscerally there's a hole here in the market. We're coming at this from a commercial perspective, as Antidote tends to. But it's essentially that like there is a consensus that seems to be forming about what a hardware signer should do, and I think there's a camp there that Coldcard was part of, but there's also the Jade philosophy and the seed signer philosophy, and to some extent even the Keystone philosophy of like it just signs through QRs blindly. And it is actually quite a nice UX if you've understood Bitcoin, like if you've got there, but you have to get there. And that in and of itself is a step and a journey. And it isn't the way you can onboard someone who's like, okay, I like Bitcoin now, or like something's philosophically registered and I'm going to set aside £20 a week to start saving in Bitcoin. Like you can't then go, okay, get a Keystone and learn Sparrow, because it's just like, what on earth? I'm like in Revolut. What are you talking? It's just where are you coming from? And then you're like, and by the way, for privacy, you need to run your own node and you need to move it. Like, no, lost. People lost, completely lost. You have to meet users where they are. Mm-hmm. So we started to think, well, hang on a minute. These hardware devices, I'm going to sneeze. Now I'm not going to sneeze because I've said it. These hardware devices are not up to par because they're too advanced, they're too technical, and also, as we've learned from Coldcard, that even though they can, I'm still going to sneeze. What a pain in the backside this is, right? It's
Charlie, can we get some black pepper in here?
Yeah, we don't do edits here, so this is just going to go in. Just Ben almost sneezing. These wallets can tend to be as secure as they want. Like Trezor's now moved to an open source, or as open source as possible, secure enclave. Very commendable. Like nothing against it, but then it doesn't play nice with the rest of the Bitcoin ecosystem, even though it professes to. It's like once you hook it, it's still, there's a lot that's proprietary there that doesn't work. Sparrow, similarly for security, I assume doesn't do connections through Bluetooth on your computer. So all of these hardware wallets, including Jade, have moved to Bluetooth secure connections to the phone, but then the advanced software, like, so it's just kind of like a mess. And then we had an idea. And the idea is, you may have heard some mention of it on both our own socials account. If you're in the Antidote Signal group, you should be in the Signal group. It is where all the real action happens. But if you're not in the Antidote Signal group, there's been some chat around this there. There's a briefing doc floating around, and now the kind of vague scaffolding for a GitHub repository. Something we've started called Project Safety Net. Tell
us, Ben, what is Project Safety Net?
Why, thank you, Andy. I will start to explain Project Safety Net. I think the biggest insight we had, and we've been talking with Alekos here at Antidote, and if you listen to his X Spaces just the other day, it was a really good, more technical rundown into what went down with the Coldcard exploit. But we've been sitting around in the office looking at these hardware wallets, looking at what's going on, and then looking at what's bleeding edge in Bitcoin today in terms of what you can do with the protocol. And the major thing we landed on was the sort of amazing irony that after all of this thing of like, you must keep your seeds offline, blah, 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 you would have been more secure had you had an old phone and your current phone in like a 2 of 2 multi-sig in Blue Wallet, like both seed phrases hot, but you would have been more secure. You just would have, right? And therefore, why are we all making hardware and having these huge, like, this crazy supply chain paranoia when we could be piggybacking off devices that are incredibly secure, so secure that actually nation states go petitioning the manufacturers like, hey, let us in. We need you to crack these devices so we can do anti-terrorism stuff. What I'm saying is like old phones, right? Like your iPhone or your old Pixel. These have secure enclaves. These are ultra secure devices. Nation state leaders keep secrets on them. They have like very heavy encryption. They have end-to-end encryption for how they communicate. They run in very elaborately constructed sandboxed environments. Like, they are secure, and they're definitely more secure than cold cards. Like, definitely. But arguably, therefore, more secure than, or just as secure as a Trezor. The only reason people get freaked out is they're internet connected. So your seed phrase is ostensibly hot. But that's not the case if it's a multi-sig. So what you actually need is not hardware. The hardware, there's a billion devices out there. There's more than a billion. There's probably, if people have more than one phone, there's probably more devices than there are humans. So everyone can have a multi-sig. And what you actually need is the software coordination layer to be able to bring in devices at will as keys and create quorums. So SafetyNet is a company we are willing to fund to the tune of, I think right now it's 2.1 Bitcoin, but £100,000. We'll help with the incorporation. We'll help with the go-to-market, get free office space. We'll help with talent matching, recruitment. We'll help in many, many ways, not capital notwithstanding, as well as offering like a really quite smooth path to further capital should the idea begin to take off. But the core concept at present is like, if we narrow down the MVP, we've been thinking of it as like a hardware-agnostic bit key, or another way we've put it is for technical people is tail scale, but for keys. And this would allow, and the MVP would concentrate exclusively on the Apple ecosystem and piggyback off it heavily. So if you assume many Apple users have more than one Apple device, like you've got a MacBook and an iPhone and possibly an Apple TV or an iPad or an Apple Watch, you've got one of something. Well, all of those devices have the secure enclave, and all of those devices are relatively easy to link up, particularly if you sign in with Apple. And you essentially default to 2 of 3 multi-sigs. So let's take the MacBook, watch, and phone scenario, probably one of the more common ones. You need your phone and your watch to verify that you can send money before you send a defined amount of larger money. Let's say we set thresholds on behalf of users deliberately so they don't have to make these choices. And you say it's $10,000. You need 2 of 3. You know, beyond that, maybe you need 5 of 8, and you have to get your wife's phone. You also have to get your mum's phone. You know, and you build these quorums yourself, but through humans and through people, and you invite them and add them to these networks of keys, safety networks. And to do this and deliver the user experience people need, you use what has been, you know, the amazing work being done on Frost, which is one of the newer primitives for multi-sig. I'm going to pause there because there's a lot we just kind of rambled on about. Maybe you have questions, maybe not, but that's where we're getting to at the moment.
Yeah. So if you're a developer, a product manager, a designer, and this sounds like an interesting project, if you're in search of a project and you want to work on something in the space, please reach out, let us know. We're putting the team together now. By the end of the week, there'll be a page on the website, antidotebtc.com/ideas/safetynet.
Domain subject to change, but yeah. But think of
it'll be clear on the website.
It'll be there, yeah.
Yeah, please reach out because we think it's a cool idea. We think for mass adoption, you definitely need something that doesn't really require you to buy some specialized hardware. I think that's a non-starter for a lot of people. And we're just piggybacking off Apple's $4 trillion market cap, decades
robust
of reputation.
Security.
Exactly.
Yeah.
$1 billion security budget.
Yeah. And never say never, but you're giving the average person extremely robust security posture without having to make them grow a large beard, move to a cabin in the woods, and wrap themselves in tinfoil. You know, it's you can actually say, "Hey, mate, if you just you've got grab your phone, add your watch to this. Okay, cool. Now we can deposit funds there. Okay, great. Now you're basically good. Next time you upgrade your phone, remember to open the app and migrate to the new phone or whatever it is. Or get your wife to help you. But super easy and extremely leaning on Apple design philosophy for user trust and perception of quality, a standardized business model, a monthly subscription. Yes, emergency recovery provided by potentially Alekos's secure enclaves in the cloud. This can also in turn guarantee very robust user privacy for people who are into that in Bitcoin. But we're thinking mainstream above all. And the big one is no seed phrases, signature aggregation through Frost. So bring your own keys from any devices. And in the long term, we would love it to be any device that is considered secure enough. So you could bring an old hardware wallet if you've got one to add to more of the quorum. And we would also love in the long run to explore the ability to export your seed phrases and reconstruct the entire thing in a truly Bitcoin way, if you're that way inclined. But the product and the MVP is definitely not targeting that type of user to begin with. It is more similar to BitKey, but without having to create proprietary hardware. Instead, you rely on the magic of software to deliver a really, really understandable user experience for just keeping money safe. And something far more in line with what you can temporarily see in banking and actually like creator platforms. Like think about when you get 2FA to sign into YouTube and it's like, go open this other app or grab this on your tablet. It works reasonably well. You don't read about constant hacks for these folks, and it's with good reason. And there's a lot more you can go into, and there's a lot more we've actually thought about. This is very surface level relative to the amount of materials we've pulled together. We've got wireframe mock-ups, we've got a product briefing, we have a pretty high level roadmap and an idea of the kind of roles we need across Rust, Swift, Rust and Swift engineers, a PM. Obviously our robot friends can do masses nowadays, but don't trust verify on the back end. Like that needs real cryptography and proper professional human oversight. So Project Safety Net, £100,000 up for grabs. Do you know what £100,000 looks like?
I don't. Then tell us.
It's like a 6-figure number because everything's digital now. So it's on your screen. It's 6 figures.
Long.
Yeah, that's longer than most people's bank accounts. So that's what we're offering. And if you need it in Bitcoin terms, it's probably about 0.1 Bitcoin, but we will, whatever it is, we'll pay in pounds first to keep our price volatility under control. But if the team that would like to take this on would prefer to be financed in Bitcoin, that is very doable. So if you are interested, more information will be on the website. If you join the Signal group, you can get an early look. We're sharing the doc around and taking comments right now. We're also opening up the GitHub a bit selectively. And we also can be reached via email on build, like Bob the Builder, at antidotebtc.com. So welcome back. We're back, leveled up. Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you, Charlie.
I love Charlie.
Me too.
Yeah, he's so good.
Man.
Yeah, he's going to give him a big cuddle after this. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully these are a bit more regular and as professional as they seem to be. We'll get more decor.
Yes.
Moo. Cool.
Cheers.
Bye.